Thank you. Thank you. You're still here. And you get another chance this day to do better and be better. Another chance to become more of who you were created and what you were created to fulfill. Thank you. I believe that grace is a direct response to gratitude. That the more grateful you are, the more grace steps in and shows itself and mirrors the gratitude that you have. Don't be afraid. All you have to know is who you are, because there is no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as failure. What other people label or might try to call failure, I have learned is just God's way of pointing you in a new direction.
What you appreciate appreciates. What you appreciate in life actually appreciates, meaning it grows. So imagine this. Imagine you have a thought experiment where you did this every single day if you're willing. What if the only things in your life tomorrow are the things you express gratitude for today? What if the only things in your life you had, the people, the opportunities, the resources, the objects, all the things, what if the only things you kept tomorrow are the things you expressed gratitude for today? Would you live differently? Of course, we all would. And how does it feel to feel grateful? It's amazing, right? Because somebody can have everything and not appreciate it, and it feels like they have nothing. But somebody can have very little resources, but they feel so grateful and appreciative. They have everything.
How does one lead a meaningful life? Because ultimately, isn't that what we all want? We want to lead a life so that however we transition, people can say, wow, that was a bright one. I think that it comes from a deep sense of awareness about who you are and why you're here. It comes from being in touch with, on a regular basis, the appreciation and the holy gratitude that should fill each of our hearts on a regular basis, just knowing what a privilege it is to be here and to be human.
Make sure your daily attitude is filled with love and gratitude. I know you may not be where you want to be in life. Finances may not be in the right place. Relationship may be in shambles. But you woke up this morning. It's a blessing. If you're still breathing, you still have an opportunity to be achieving. So start your day by counting your blessings and give thanks for the many lessons that life has put you in a position to learn from, that life has put you in a position to grow from. Give thanks for having the strength to power through all of the stressing, to power through all of the adversity, to power through all of the hard times, all of the rough patches. And if you smack dab in the middle of one right now, give thanks because the universe, because God is going to see you through this. And on the other side of that darkness comes your sunshine.
Say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already.
Sometimes you find out what you're supposed to be doing by doing the things you're not supposed to do. So don't expect the perfect job that defines your life's work to come along next week. If that happens, take the blessing and run with it. But if not, be grateful to be on the path where you eventually want to live. Abide in the space of gratitude, because this is what I know for sure, that only through being grateful for how far you've come in your path can you leave room for more blessings to flow. Blessings flow in the space of gratitude. Everything in your life is happening to teach you more about yourself. So even in a crisis, be grateful. When disappointed, be grateful. When things aren't going the way you want them to, be grateful that you have sense enough to turn it around. Even when things are difficult, be grateful. Honor your calling. Don't worry about how successful you will be. Don't worry about it. Focus on how significant you can be in service, and the success will take care of itself. And always take a stand for yourself, your values. You're defined by what you stand for. Your integrity is not for sale.
Right now it may be dark, but there's a seed that's being planted. And so I want you to bury the past. I want you to fertilize the present. And I want you to give thanks, because the flower of you is going to blossom in the future. You might not have all the riches in the world. You may not have the best relationship. You may not have the best health, but you have opportunity. You still have air in your lungs. And that means you still have a chance to turn it all around. You have a chance to right your wrongs. You gotta give thanks, because if you don't have the best health, you have a chance for a miracle. If you don't have the best relationship, you have a chance to end that bad one. Remove that toxic person from your life. Remove those toxic people from your life. Fall in love with yourself and allow the universe, allow God to bring the right person and the right people into your life.
Many people would say, well, that's very easy. When you are happy, you are grateful. But think again. Is it really the happy people that are grateful? We all know quite a number of people who have everything that it would take to be happy, and they are not happy because they want something else, or they want more of the same. And we all know people who have lots of misfortune that we ourselves would not want to have, and they are deeply happy. They radiate happiness. We are surprised. Why? Because they are grateful. So it is not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratefulness that makes us happy. If you think it's happiness that makes you grateful, think again. It's gratefulness that makes you happy.
I know that it's possible to do for every one of our lives, every one of us in our lives, to help somebody, to liberate somebody, to save somebody. And I know when you move through life living your own truth and live through the paradigm of service, you too will be all right. So I beseech you to go forth and serve. Serve first yourself. Honor your calling. Do what you're supposed to do. Honor your Creator, your family, your ancestors. And when you walk this path of privilege, don't forget the less privileged you leave behind.
That when you show gratitude, it helps shield you from negativity. Makes you a naturally happier person. Helps you eliminate stress. Helps you heal from previous traumatic experiences. Helps you sleep better. Helps boost your self-esteem. It enhances your law of attraction. That's right. When you give thanks and show gratitude, it improves your relationships. See, when people see you got that glow, That positive inner glow is contagious, and it attracts the right people into your inner space.
Is to express your gratitude in one of two ways. You could express it with people around you, and that's wonderful. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, express gratitude for the person that lives or delivers your mail, wherever you are, express gratitude for them, and or express gratitude in a journal. A lot of people, they like to express gratitude by writing things down. So it's verbally is great, but also writing things down kinesthetically. There's something about putting pen to paper and to be able to see all those things. Some people, what they'll do is they'll write on a little note card one thing they're grateful for that day, and they'll put it into like a fishbowl. And then at the end of like 365 days after a year, they just go and read all those things. And I even just get goosebumps thinking about that. I call them truth bumps, but it's just, how do you come alive that way? And so my challenge for you today is you deserve to feel like you have more than you think you have. Like if you want to feel truly wealthy, count all of the things you have in your life that money cannot buy.
See, gratitude is the best medicine. It heals your mind, body, and spirit, and ultimately attracts more things for you to be grateful for. So I implore you to wake up each and every day and give thanks and show gratitude for what you have in your life. And once you do that, you'll find yourself climbing over the hump and making each and every day of your life a Wednesday. Give thanks, show gratitude.
The one thing that has allowed me to certainly achieve both material success and spiritual success is the ability to listen to my instinct. I call it my inner voice. It doesn't matter what you call it, nature, instinct, higher power. But the ability to understand the difference between what your heart is saying, what your head is saying. I now always go with the heart. Even when my head is saying, oh, but this is the rational thing. This is really what you should do. I always go with that little feeling, the feeling. I am where I am today because I have allowed myself to listen to my feelings. Every single person who ever came on my show, and I hear there's like 37,000 guests I've talked to, a lot of them came from dysfunction and a lot of them wouldn't appear to be teachers, but every one of them had something to say that was meaningful and valuable and that I could use to grow myself into the best of myself, which is what all of our jobs are. Your number one job is to become more of yourself and to grow yourself into the best of yourself. And so I had a lot of great teachers, as we all do. I was doing an Oprah show about a decade ago. One of my greatest teachers was a man named John Diaz. We were doing a show called Would You Survive? And on Tuesday, October 31st in 2000, Singapore Airlines Flight 006, a Boeing 747 from Taipei to Los Angeles, took off with 179 souls aboard. 4 crew and 79 passengers perished in that flight, a total of 83 fatalities. There was a typhoon rolling through at the time, and the plane went down the wrong runway. Now what's interesting, John Diaz was on that plane and he had several indications, whispers, that he shouldn't have gotten on the plane, but he did anyway. He got on the plane and he managed to be one of the survivors. And on the Oprah show, I was asking him, what do you think it was that you were one of the survivors? And I said, do you think it was your position on the plane? Because he was in first class and he was sitting on the right next to an exit door. And he said, yes, I think it might have been the position of the plane. And also my quick thinking, he says, and the fact that I didn't stop moving. So I said, you don't believe, you're not a religious man, you don't believe that there was some kind of divine intervention going on there? He goes, no, I'm not a religious person. I do not believe that it was anything divine. I don't believe that. I did see he said, as I got knocked back into the plane, that it looked like Dante's Inferno, with people strapped into their seats and just burning. And it seemed a bit to me, as I turned and looked backwards, like there was a light coming out of the tops of their heads. I guess you could call it an aura was leaving their bodies, and some lights were brighter than others. It changed, he said, it changed me. It gave me a new kind of spirituality, in a sense that I now believe somehow, I don't know how, but life continues on somehow through that light. And I thought, I'm not a religious man, but I thought the brightness and dimness of the auras were how one lives one's life, so to speak. So that's one of the major things that really has changed with me since then, he says. I want to live my life so my aura, when it leaves, is one of the brightest ones. I got chills when he said that. How does one lead a meaningful life? Because ultimately, isn't that what we all want? We want to lead a life so that however we transition, people can say, wow, that was a bright one. That was a bright light. First of all, I think that it comes from a deep sense of awareness about who you are and why you're here. It comes from being in touch with, on a regular basis, the appreciation and the holy gratitude that should fill each of our hearts on a regular basis, just knowing what a privilege it is to be here and to be human. To me, successful is getting to the point where you are absolutely comfortable with yourself. It does not matter how many things you have acquired. The ability to learn to say no and not to feel guilty about it, to me, is about the greatest success I have achieved. The fact that I have, in the public side, done whatever, it's all a part of a process for growing for me. But to me, to have the kind of internal strength and internal courage it takes to say, no, I will not let you treat me this way, is what success is all about. It's the same thing that prevents you from being abused as a child, that prevents you from being abused as an adult, that allows you to build success for yourself. I will not be treated this way. I demand only the best for myself. All the mistakes I've made in my life, I've made because I was trying to please them. Every one of them. There's not one that I've made because I did something because I really wanted to do this for myself. Every mistake I've ever made is because I went outside of myself to do something for somebody else that I should not, to please them, just for the purpose of pleasing. You are worthy to say no. That it's okay if you say no. It's okay if you say no and then people don't like you. That's really okay. The important thing is how you feel about what you're doing, how you feel about yourself. It's a long struggle though. And I'm just hoping that, in the work that I do on the show and the speaking that I do around the country, and that young people who are watching this can get the lesson sooner than I did. Because it's painful, because you keep repeating it over and over and over until you get it right. And what I've found is that every time you have to repeat the lesson, it gets worse. Because I call it God trying to get your attention, the universe trying to get your attention. So we didn't get your attention the first time, so we're going to have to hit you a little harder this time. So I'm still doing it. I'm still learning. I say many times, the universe is always trying to get your attention. I use universe and God interchangeably. It's trying to get your attention. And sometimes it starts out, any major problem you encounter, it always started out as a whisper. By the time it gets to be a storm, you've had a pebble knock you upside the head, you've had a brick wall, you've had the house to fall down, and before you know it, you're in the eye of the storm. But long before you're in the eye of the storm, you've had many warnings, like little clues. So now my goal in life is to not to have to hit the eye of the storm, is to catch it in a whisper, to get it the first time. And getting it comes from understanding I think the one thing that has allowed me to certainly achieve both material success and spiritual success is the ability to listen to my instinct. I call it my inner voice. It doesn't matter what you call it, nature, instinct, higher power. But the ability to understand the difference between what your heart is saying, what your head is saying. I now always go with the heart. Even when my head is saying, oh, but this is the rational thing. This is really what you should do. I always go with that feeling. I am where I am today because I have allowed myself to listen to my feelings. I feel that luck is preparation meeting opportunity. One of the biggest lessons I've learned recently is that when you don't know what to do, you should do nothing until you figure out what to do. Because a lot of times you feel like you're pressed against the wall and you've got to make a decision. You never have to do anything. No, don't know what to do. And wait. And that has been a big lesson. To be willing to be still with myself and trust myself and my higher power to help me make the right decision and to not feel pressured. See, I think, we create stress for ourselves because you feel like you have to do what other people, you have to do it, you have to. I don't feel that.